It's a Monday edition of Southeast News, and you're welcome to it. I am Barikumo Ado. It's sunny in Enugu, and that's good for us. Let's start with the headline. Conductor dies as petrol tanker crashes in Anambra. This story and more will definitely come your way. Stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
One person has lost his life following a road crash involving a premium motor-sprit laden tanker that occurred at Umuikem HM community in Nobi, close to Nokwa Junction, Idemili South, local government area of Anambra State, on Sunday. It was guided that the operatives of the State Fire Service prevented further disaster from occurring when it prevented a petrol tanker from exploding. One of the eyewitnesses near the scene said the driver lost control of a truck and hit a perimeter fencing as he was trying to navigate a sharp bend in the area. The Ebonyi State Governor Francis Nwifuru has assured that his administration will continue to build a united, secure, and prosperous state where people of all faiths can live in harmony and pursue their aspirations without fear or discrimination. Governor Nwifuru, represented by his deputy, Patricia Bila, made a disclosure at Executive Council Chambers, New Government House, Abakaliki, then a Salah homage by a Ebonyi State Muslim community to mark the 2025 Eid al-Kabir celebration. Thank them for their contributions in maintaining peace in their various communities and urge them to continue to uphold the virtues of tolerance, mutual respect, and peaceful coexistence, which is said were essential for the unity and progress of the state and nation.
Let me first of all thank our Imam that gave us the citation. We had it all, and we understood everything because it's one God. It's just the language and where you stand that make the difference. We appreciate you, sir. And from the language, you taught us a lot. You taught us about Prophet Muhammad, the sacrifice he made in the Holy Quran. Also, Prophet Abraham, all of them worked assiduously during their time. And it is that sacrifice, their message, that legacy they left behind that we are still following. May we never deviate. May we never deviate from the rules of all these great men. As we are here today, we are here to celebrate you. We are here to say thank you for being part of this government.
The leader of the delegation and chief imam of Islamic Center, Afikpo, Sheikh Dawood Okmani, thanked Governor Nwifuru for his magnanimity in appointing some Muslims into positions of authority in his administration and for sponsoring the trip to a holy pilgrimage. Sheikh Okmani will use the occasion to solicit for an official vehicle for Muslim Welfare Board to ease the official engagement assured of your unflinching support to the government. The highlight of the homage was the recitation of Holy Quran and the signing of a visitor's register. The High Court in Ukwa Judicial Division has ruled in favor of Emmanuel Oti as a Labour Party chairman. The court restrained Prince G.O. Nubeze from claiming the position or interfering with Oti's activities. The judge declared Oti's suspension by the Abure-led faction unlawful citing the party's 2024 constitution wasn't recognized by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now to Imo State, where a non-governmental organization has donated over 2,000 sanitary pads to more than 500 female students in Ohaji-Igbema local government area of Imo State. Initiative aims to promote menstrual health and dignity among schoolgirls. Founder Chiamaka Enya says the initiative would empower women and girls by addressing period poverty and lack of menstrual health education. Community has shown support for the initiative, with the traditional ruler of Umakane community endorsing the project. The students who benefited from the donation expressed their gratitude. And that's the news. When we return, we'll start our conversation. Some time ago, Nigeria Union of Journalists, Enugu State, had an election that wasn't an election. Thereafter, there was a caretaker committee to handle the affairs for 3 months. Just over the weekend, another election was held. This time, a winner emerged. We'll be having conversations with a winner. We're talking about reconciliation. We'll be talking about welfare of journalists. Stay with us.
With a population of about 36 million people, the Southeast is awash with stories. Every day on Southeast News, we tell the peculiar story of the Southeast and her people.
Our Southeast should be the Silicon Valley of Nigeria.
Their successes, achievements, and daily challenges. Do you have a Southeast story to share? Community achievements and challenges, completed and uncompleted projects, bad roads, water scarcity, erosion, flooding, insecurity, or even disagreements? Bring it on to Southeast News. On Southeast News, no story is too big or too small. Southeast News. Let's tell our story. Showing on Signature TV every weekday at 4 p.m. WAT, 1600 hours GMT.
The story of NUJ in Enugu is fraught with challenges, triumphs, victories. It depends on what your perspective is and from where you're reading the story from. Just a few months back, when NUJ Enugu State Council election went into a logjam, there were so many stories about what was going on, what should have been done better, what could have been done to forestall that. And then the caretaker committee came on board, and now elections have been held. One thing was clear with the election is it's that NUJ Enugu State Council has taken a step forward in the right direction, or are they ready to leave the past in the past and look at a better future? These are some of the issues we'll be talking about. We have in the studio with me today's Southeast News, a man who was the former chapel chairman of FRCN, NUJ Enugu, and is now in the council and is the chairman of NUJ Enugu State Council. Obinna Obuka, you're welcome to Southeast News.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
First questions first. On election day, when you won, what were your first thoughts?
Thank you very much for that question. When I look at my colleagues, the former ESCO members, I look at the veterans, I look at many people jubilating, and what came to my mind was you are now you have a big task to deliver. All those things I promised during my campaign, and it's time to put it in practice. And I begin to wonder, it begin to occur to me that these are journalists, and when you are talking about journalists, you're talking about seasoned ones. There are many of them that are very good, and if you don't do exactly what you promised them, they have their pen, they have their microphone, they have their midgets. They will also come out attacking you, criticizing you in a way that you will sit up. So that day was, while other people were jubilating, I was thinking about how do I start? But I know I am prepared. I prepared for the position, and that is why I picked the form to go through the electioneering. And God has given me that opportunity to serve, and it's all about service. And I must tell you here that we are in a hurry to do something positive and change.
As much as I want to agree with you, I hope it's not one of those phrases, because in Nigeria, you would hear people say they want to hit the ground running, and several days turn into weeks, they're still like at a standstill. So I hope it's not the same phrase. You're in a hurry to turn things around. But before you answer that, let's look at some of those promises you made.
Okay,
so that it gives us an idea of those things that can be quick fixes.
Okay, before I answer that question, like you said during the introduction, I was the former chairman of FLCN Chapel. That was the kind of where I got the experience and what it takes to move forward. So I really know what journalists in Enugu they are facing. I'm also a journalist. I'm an editor. I'm a reporter. So I go to the field. I edit reports. I know what we pass through. So it's not that I came from somewhere else, maybe another discipline, and joined journalism. So I started from the level 8 officer. So, and I moved now, I'm a controller of news. So I know some of those things. So I promised my people that I'm going to look into the welfare. And this welfare is not about depending on government. So as a journalist, if we must curtail or reduce this issue of brown envelope that people are talking about, you have to equip yourself with knowledge and also economically. So how do you do that? It's time journalists will begin to move away from looking at what they will get before they will air the news. You look at other things that you are going to do to help yourself, to build yourself economically, so that when you cover an event, you have the eye of objectivity and not what they are going to get. And that is when you begin to see bias in that reporting. And now, maybe in the course of this program, you know that journalists, or journalism as a profession is being faced and challenged these days with the coming of citizen journalism. Everybody is now becoming a journalist. So how do you know? If you see fake news now, where is it coming from? Is it coming from journalists? Or is it coming from those people in their own village sitting down using their smartphones and say, oh, 15 persons crushed by a truck at Guanyama, 1 million people died in some place, a man beating his wife to death. So what experience do they have? Are they real professionals? So we are challenged, and it's time for journalists to differentiate themselves from some of those people, so that the society will now know that this particular report is coming from a real journalist. So we're talking about that welfare. We are looking at the way of equipping ourselves first, so that you will not begin to depend on the government or your paymaster to give you what will sustain you and your family or your dependents. So when you have other things doing, for the salary, you can be able to cover news with the eye of objectivity that I thought about. Secondly, we look at training and retraining. You find out that most media houses and these employers of journalists, they don't even care about the people working with them in terms of training. You cannot give out what you don't have. So if you just, well, are you a journalist? Do you study mass comm? Yeah, come, I employ you. What is being taught in there is a bit different from what you face on the job. So when you get in, so you need to be retrained, so so that you can have that knowledge. You'll be able to say, okay, do this, do that. And like I said, I came from a reputable radio station, Radio Nigeria, where you have to, your story has to pass through a lot of people. You cover the news. You after writing, you send to your editor. The editor will edit. After editing, it will pass to another person to just check. It will go to the typist to type. They will bring it for proofreading. After proofreading, it will now go to maybe a deputy director of news for the final editing, before that particular news will now be aligned. So before it now goes to the anchor that will air the news. But these days, because a particular person calls a journalist or a presenter, will have to go to the field and cover the news. He or she will holiday come back, becomes an editor of her own or his own, write it, edit, package the news, and even go on air to air the news. So where are those eyes that will cross the T and dot the I's? So that is when you begin to, if you allow a reporter to assume that position, the implication is that he or she might be in a hurry in that field while covering that assignment, or he might be psychologically discomfort. Maybe a kind of something is worrying him or her. He has a burden. So it will definitely reflect on that particular story. So why do we talk about a reporter being different from an editor? It's so that whatever mood you wear, maybe while covering the news, somebody who is more relaxed can now look at it. But these days, those things are no longer. A reporter can be everything. So we promise them that we're going to look at it and call on people, organizations, to partner them, to come and train journalists, so that we begin to, the difference will be clear. And like I said, this issue of citizen journalism is becoming a very big problem to us. We were talking about quacks before. It's no longer quacks this time around. It's citizen journalism. Look at Enugu State, for example. We have a sitting governor who is very fast in trying to develop the state. So the journalists in Enugu, what are they doing? Have they braced up to that challenge, that speed that the governor is using? So if it is yes, I doubt. Why do I say so? Most of the roads that are under construction now, it is the duty of the journalists to look at what are they doing now. Are those jobs, are they solid? So are those roads, are they important? So is there much concentration on roads? Maybe the health sector, are they suffering? Is the agricultural sector, are they suffering? What about the schools? Yes, 260 type Green Smart School in Enugu. So we are busy building the schools, and it's almost at its completion. What happens to the manpower that will take over that school? Or is it going to be an abandoned project? So it's the duty of journalists now to begin to look into some of those areas, to bring the attention of the government. And as much as we are doing well here, look at the area, look at the challenges that will come up tomorrow. So these are the things that we need to bring journalists to come up to stage. Smart, when we have smart school, we're also looking at having a smart journalist that will be up and doing.
I tend to agree with you, except that when we started the conversation, you made mention of thinking about journalists having something else so that they don't rely on brown envelopes and stuff like that. But from the narrative you are giving, it also shows that there would also be this effect or this issue of distractions. Because imagine a reporter who is set to go to the field and he discovers that his side hustle needs his attention. His concentration will not be 100% in the field, and that will distort his perception about that story. So if you are thinking about a second thing for a journalist, I am hoping that your team would sit down and begin to look at possibilities and practicabilities, something that will not affect the journalist in terms of execution. Now, you talked about citizen journalists. The big deal here is this: we should not pretend any longer that the average man with a phone, sometimes, let me give you a straightforward example. The fire at Obete Market, the first people who had it were the average people with a phone. And it was up there and visible for people to see. What I think NUJ should be thinking about is how to get people to do things that are verifiable, that would also have a touch of professionalism to show the difference with what is. For example, now, the fire was thrown into the internet by so many people, different people from depending on where they were staying. Some were on a high building and all that, some were on the floor. So they were telling you what they were seeing. I recall one saying, the fire is burning so many shops. Another one from a different perception said, an elevated spot. Said, it's the foams. As a journalist, it's your responsibility to put them together and give us a verifiable result and report. So what I'm thinking is, how would the mix be, as you're looking forward to retraining of journalists, how would the mix be so that they are not in a hurry to report what they are getting from the social media space, but to do quick verifications and to tell the real story? Do you understand my drift?
I understand.
Because we covered the truck that exploded at Oyama, and what our team saw and what we heard later were different stories. We were like, immediately after the first respondents our team was there. And even at that spot, we had issues with the government angle and the story they want to put out. For example, we had witnessed over 23 dead, but they were telling us it's 11. Are you getting the pictures now? So sometimes, as journalists, when they are going to be retrained, they also need to stand by the validity of their story. So how do we put all this in the mix as you're thinking of retraining?
Thank you very much. You see, that is, I'm happy you have quickly gotten where the problem lies. It's about the people, and the journalists, most of them are not trained. Any little news or any little issue now, we'll call it propaganda, can even make a journalist, the person will now begin to follow, abandon that fact and follow that of the propaganda coming from the citizen journalist. So what makes you different from them is when all those things are coming, for example, let's continue to use that explosion. Your team went there as trained journalists, and they got the information, they reported the facts. When they started hearing different number or conflicting number, it now calls for more in-depth investigation. Who involves now? Who is responsible to give the number of people that are dead? In journalism, you don't have the right to confirm someone dead. It's a medical doctor. So, but you see, 25%, 1 million people are dead. So are you a doctor? Do you know if those people, some are still alive in the hospital? So it's now good for you to get to the road safety and get your report. What is the actual figure? What is the facts? You get, what's Nigerian police? What is it? You get the eyewitness, and you now analyze this and come up and stand with your figure or your original statement you made. Don't mind the government. At times, we are aware that government might try to, in order to douse the tension, begin to give you a figure that will not make the public to feel somehow. But as a journalist, you need to stand by what you have said. And that is when, during the training now, we are trying to see how we can have a cross-fertilization of ideas among journalists in Enugu. If you are working with a TVC, signature TV, and we have TVC, we have NTA, we have this. If you are reporting 22, and NTA is reporting 15, TVC is reporting 5, you are causing a trouble for journalists in Enugu. So there should be, are you there? Did you witness this? Yes, I'm telling you, I'm a journalist, and my name is Obinna. I'm here right now, this is what I saw, this is what I observed. Okay. So it's not what when you start at your comfort home, you make a call, you saw what is the internet, you begin to report. When they ask you, say you are there. So at that training, we would like to tell our people that there is need to collaborate. Without collaboration, we cannot fight that citizen journalism, because we cannot stop anybody, as it is now, from using their smartphones. And the news will continue to come. People will just come and begin to write anything. But when we are trained and we collaborate, people will begin now to know this is the real story. Before, when we joined the profession, maybe when I joined Radio Nigeria, if somebody will hear, did you hear it from Radio Nigeria? I mean, sometimes now you can see, is the story, do you hear it from Signature TV? Yes, I heard it from Signature. Are you sure Signature carried the news? Oh, it's authentic. So, do you understand? So, because they know that these are trained people. So, when I was doing weather report in Radio Nigeria, so that was my first challenge. I will begin to forecast that this morning there will be rain in Enugu, this and that, this and that. In Oka, it will not do that. So, someday somebody called in the morning. I heard your voice this morning, you say there will be rain in Enugu. And now it's almost, the day is going and there's no rain in Enugu. So are you lying to the public as a journalist? So it gave me concern. And, but because I'm more prepared, I now told the people that I said there will be rain in Enugu. So part of Nsukka Ogu, that day it rained heavily. So because I didn't say Enugu Metropolis, But if I say that will be rain in Enugu Metropolis, I'm almost sure, and it will rain. So you see it. So that is not going to be easy, but we need to start now because it's increasing. So what we're trying to do is that when you are training, you're not training a Radio Nigeria reporter alone, you're not training a Signature TV reporter alone. We will bring these people together so that they will understand the challenges and we will unite and see it as a cause that we need to fight. For people to know, when they saw something from their phone, it's okay, leave these people alone. Let us wait to hear the report from Signature TV, and that is the one we are going to believe. So even if when the government themselves saw that we are prepared on our own, that we are not shaking, they will begin to tell you the truth. So you don't need anybody. NTA will stick to 15. This is what I observe. Radio Nigeria will report 15. TVC Signature will report 15. So if government is saying 5, the society will now know that these are the people saying the truth, and these are the people lying. And before you know what is happening, they will begin to change.
Yeah.
So that is the angle we are coming from the angle of training.
Okay. We'll get to your welfare because welfare is very important for the average journalist. But before that, one of the big issues in journalism these days is not even a citizen journalist, but among the journalism profession, or let me say the community, let me use the word community, you have people whose stock in trade is to pretend that they represent certain organizations and they appear at almost every function. And immediately the function is over, they are the first to meet the personalities that are at that function. Many of them, you know, you mentioned midgets. The midgets are not even on, but they're asking questions. They're pretending to be recording. They're pretending to be writing, taking notes, and all that. What do you plan to do to those sets of people? The other group is the other group in that same community. What they do is look for stories that are no stories, but they just sit down and write something that looks like a story. By the time you ask for evidence, they begin to tell you another story. I don't want to mention the word quack or fake journalist, but they are in the community. They exist in the journalism community. So what do you plan to do about them? Because if your idea is providing welfare for journalists so that they can do their jobs better, we need to ask ourselves, will these people, this group of people I just mentioned, still partake in that community?
Thank you very much. It's like you read my manifesto. It's one of the issues that we are going to tackle. We know it's also not going to be easy because let me give you an example of there is this incident that happened. That was in 2017. I have to say it here because this is a particular man. The man lives at 6th Avenue. He's a very huge guy, so he normally uses this old camera that you normally keep at your shoulder like this. So at every function, what the man does was that, you know, then Radio Nigeria was just like, there was no much competition. Radio Nigeria is one of the, in fact, the only radio station maybe here in Enugu then that is very vibrant. So in the morning, people know that from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. after the news, we run advert of what maybe an event of what is going to happen. So the man will just listen to Radio Nigeria in the morning and say, okay, local government chairman from Aniri, there will be a children's party or there will be this and that. There will be in Eziago, there will be this. So the man will say, okay, and he will carry his old, that is not functioning, camera and move direct to that place. When you get to the venue as a journalist that was sent to come and cover, I mean, you will be busy covering your work. You will see somebody, maybe when a governor or a local government chairman is making a speech, and that is the key thing. at that function as a journalist, you need to capture that. You see someone conducting an interview at the back, so collecting 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira, this and that, I'm a journalist. And when he came to that function, he will look around. If he saw NTA there, he will say, I'm from Signature TV. So if eventually there is Signature TV, he say, I'm from Arise. So, and one day at Opera Square, we organized for him, he didn't know, and we caught him at Opera Square and began to ask him, which organization? He said NTA. And a manager of NTA, of the blessed memory, James Obarikocha, was there. So I said, you're from NTA. I said, did you know this man? He said, no. I said, are you sure I'm from NTA? Okay, I'm from NTA, this is my name. I said, no, but I worked for NTA before. I am now in AIT. Are you in AIT now? I said, yes. Okay, AIT person is here. So when he found out that we're all complete and we are ready for him, and we now called the police and handed him over to the police. I said, this is what is happening, and if you don't do this, it will be a very big problem. But guess what? Because we are not serious about the matter, people say, Onachihogedi. He was just looking for what to eat, this and that. But that is no. Before you know what is happening, the whole thing kind of was everywhere. And it's now becoming a very big issue. Do you know that inside church last month, I went for a synod. A particular woman came and said that she's from Radio Nigeria. I came from Radio Nigeria to cover that event. I was there. He was telling my colleagues from NTA that she's from Radio Nigeria. They came to tell me, and I said, okay, allow, when you want to do interview, let me see what he was. And in fact, she was lucky. And someone just introduced me, Obin Obuka from Radio Nigeria, and she quickly and withdrew from that interview. She didn't do it again. So I was waiting for her to say something. So I'm agreeing with you, it's everywhere. So but now look at the plan. From that training, we will start from ourselves. We have chapels. So these things are not, we have to start from chapel. Like I said, I was the former chairman of a chapel. So meaning I should be able to know every reporter in Radio Nigeria. I know my members. So the chairman of Correspondent Chapel should also know their members. And there will be a collaboration now. What we're going to do is that we'll talk to ourselves. And that is even their own area. That's where the major problem is. Because you see somebody will say, I'm a freelancer. Yeah. So how do you differentiate between somebody who is being paid by Vanguard newspaper or This Day newspaper and someone who is freelancing? So you don't just get to your microphone and say, okay, I'm freelancing for this. And this time around, it's online.
It's online.
So,
they have online
so when you look at our members from online chapel, they are just 16 in number, in total. But the number of online news or platform you are seeing even in Enugu here is more than 100. So where are those people? They are not registered. So the problem of journalists in Enugu is that we talk about others but we don't talk about our problem. So you have a big problem that is about swallowing the organization, the profession. You don't talk about it. So you keep talking about people's problem. This is a very big issue. Somebody will say, I am First News. I am the Hard Truth. Early morning news online. Some will even tell you, I'm a US-based online newspaper or a US-based whatever. So what are you doing in Nigeria? How many, you see, these things have been, we have Radio Nigeria, we have Voice of Nigeria, they're not doing the same thing. So if you're a US-based online newspaper, what are you serving? What are you doing in Nigeria?
Getting local news.
So you are getting local news to where? So the truth is that we are going to call this chapel with chapel heads. Give us the names and the list of your own people. We might even go ahead to publish it. I said, look at the journalists in Enugu. Look at the online, the original, authentic online platform we have in Enugu. That if you go, any other ones are fake. When people stop patronizing some of those people, and when we saw them in our assignment, and we don't recognize them, we don't give them the work we call the gem or the largesse, whatever that comes out from work, or people don't invite them, the thing will begin to reduce. And we are going to start. They are our colleagues. Don't even think that they are neutral. We know them. Even as I'm sitting down there, I can count like 3 or 4, and we stay together. But when you want to talk about it, no, leave it now. Is he not going to carry the news? No, carry the news to where? From where are you carrying the news from? A fake platform. So what we are trying to do now is that some of these chapel leaders, we'll bring them together, give us the list, we'll have. Even in the platform where I was a member, so I was, in fact, if you come to NUJ platform now, we are more than 300 or 400. So you see names, people that are retired, people that are no longer there. You see maybe a Reverend Father, maybe Red Mascom, is now an NUJ member, belonging to no chapel, but it's in our platform, major platform.
But is he a registered member of NUJ?
Not a registered, I'm telling you. He's not a registered member of NUJ. So how did that person find his name to be in the major platform or WhatsApp of NUJ? Is what we begin to ask ourselves. So maybe some leaders in the past maybe begin to, oh, this is my friend, oh, you're there, put me here so that I'll be listening to the news. And you begin to see all manner of things. So part of my major, this is to bring sanity. And what will you do? If you retire, you become a veteran. And we'll have a platform for you. And we'll have something for you. We are going to revive the issue of interaction in NUJ. There are veterans everywhere. This is even training that we're talking about. We can even train ourselves. We have a very large space at NUJ. Just get a small hall. Keep chairs, rehearse with this newspaper that we are even producing. They should bring papers in the morning and this and that. Some of the evening, when you want to relax, you go here, you see a veteran. Those names, those days, Ngwoke of Radio Nigeria, if you're Machibon, you hear these names, you begin to tell them, Maxwell and Gennett, you begin to say, what is your experience those days? That they know good, the government doesn't want people to report journalists to them. It was tough. You begin to hear. So if you go to this area, don't do this and that. Even from that discussion, people begin to get knowledge about how these things have been done. But when you mumble everything together, you are a veteran, once you read mass communication, you are a journalist in Enugu. And that is why you begin to see a lot of issues. And it's even becoming uncontrollable. But we have a plan. And we are going to collaborate with the government. When we are doing some of these things, you tell the government, look at our plan. So that the good work we are doing, when you see all this, we are not going to be, definitely we must be a watchdog to society. We are not going to be a rubber stand. What we are trying to say is not that whatever government did, we say, hey, you did well. Government, you did well. So that when those bad ones, those bad news came, because government believe that if you criticize them, you are against them. No. But if you give a constructive criticism, they will know that you are talking to them. We have given a report that changed society. Draw attention to what is happening in social place.
And that's a basic function.
That is it. So, but if you allow it to be all commerce affair, somebody will begin to say, you begin to see sentimental reports from here and there. So, and it's causing a trouble. So, we are putting up something immediately, collaborating within ourselves and the government to ensure that when we catch you, after we have a platform to announce it, that this is what we're going to do. We have noticed this, we noticed this. So if you know you are indulging, the society should be aware. Before somebody will say, I'm from Radio Nigeria, put up a call. Call the NUJ chairman. Where's your chapel? Oh, you're from Radio Nigeria. Thank you, you're welcome. Who is the director of Radio Nigeria? Is it Mr. Ikeze? Did you know him? Okay, do you know so person from Radio Nigeria? I say yes. Okay, let me call the person to confirm. When you do it twice, that person will not show up again.
Okay. I am enjoying this conversation, but I just need a little bit of the welfare you plan, the welfare package you plan for journalists before I will tell. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
This is a very big one for us, and the past administration.
Just a little bit.
Okay, yes, I'm going to go into it, and because we are not. The remuneration is very poor. We will pay a courtesy visit to some of these our owners of this station to see how they can increase this pay. I will not forget to mention that the journalists in Enugu, maybe Nigeria as a whole, their pay is too minimal to do this job. So you need to, even where I work, for many years now, enhanced media salary is coming, enhanced media salary is coming. How much are we taking home as a federal government staff? Now compare it to the private, where we even have shortage of staff. So let me keep that one. So what we have in stock is that when we talk to government, we are trying to see how they can be able to give us soft loan grant. If you
Is
don't,
it a loan or a grant?
we will go for grants.
Won't that be like mortgaging your reportage?
No. You see, when you give a reporter a grant, that you are not going to be in that government forever. The person that provided it. So, and if you do something wrong, the same reporter will say it. And
I just hope you have the courage.
No, the last government, something happened in Enugu here. The last government gave us money to renovate our center, and not even that. When we had our press week, he also gave us money, and that was close to election. But you know what happened in Enugu, the last election? When he came, the journalists begin to look at, what have you done? We are not happy. This is what happened. This is what happened. I'm not saying that he didn't do well, but the rest is story. So despite some of those things,
they could still raise the issues.
Yeah, they continue to raise the issues. This place is not good. This place is not good. And that is why, when this government came on board, you see what they're doing. They hit the people. The other one was based of stakeholders, settling of stakeholders. Now the government came now, they're settling the people. They are doing the roads, they are doing this and that. So it's a different ballgame.
But yes, I wanted you to talk about welfare. You know, you mentioned these roads, but we also, as journalists, looking at the pains the people are going through and how it can be ameliorated. Let me give you a quick example. The bridge at Tabakwa here has been cordoned off. No vehicle passes. And one would have thought, no engineering experience anyway, I don't have any. One would have thought that the part that vehicles were using, they would have allowed them to still temporarily use it while working on the new part. But it's completely cut off. No traffic. So it is a big pain in terms of challenge where you see people walk for a long time just to get from one point to the other to be able to pick transport. So why are journalists not talking about issues like that? Yes, we're saying constructions are going on. It will be better for the society. Or how can government still ameliorate the sufferings of the people? So at the end, the smiles will be bigger.
That's exactly what I said when I said that the journalists need to be in speed with what the government is doing. As it's happening in Ababa here, it's also happening at Trasekul, where I came from just now. So, and many other places. So what are the journalists doing? It means that we are not up to speed, because it's very, very wrong. I was just coming through that area now. You block that bridge. You know the population of people living in Ababa. What do they pass through in the morning going to work and evening coming back? So, okay, now we are talking in the studio now. How many special reports have you heard on the radio?
We have done ours.
So maybe one is not enough. We're supposed
to
flood it.
Not only one.
Yes.
Done.
No, I'm talking about your station. You may be doing one or two, but what I'm telling you is that when you collaborate,
okay,
I've not heard it from Radio Nigeria, and it's too bad. Radio Nigeria is supposed to call it ETV, ESBS, every station. Governor, the people are suffering. Yes, we are doing the wonderful work we are doing, but you can't be doing the whole road at the same time.
I will hold you to that. All right, thank you very, very much, Obinna Buka, for coming on to Southeast News.
It's a pleasure.
And I look forward to see you hit the ground running so that you can achieve your goals. That's our package for today. We'll be back tomorrow by God's grace. Barry Kumo, Adovis Mining.